If you can't make time now, then you might as well accept that you will never make time. My name is Yassine. I'm a calisthenics athlete, coach. Do you really think you've got less time than Jeff Bezos, founder of one of the biggest communities in the UK? Because even as I was scaling my business from 4 to 22K per month, I started hanging around with these people and I started making those same excuses. You are the biggest lever that you can pull. Helped Nick go from 5K to 15K, helped Henry go from 4K to over 20K per month. Josh just live a more fulfilled and satisfied life. It's all about the limitations that you set for yourself. All right, so the mindset shift that made working out easier for me. But before we get started, for those who don't know who I am, my name is Yassine. I'm a calisthenics athlete, coach, founder of one of the biggest communities in the UK, as well as an identity engineer. And if you know what that is, essentially what I do is I help 6 to 7 figure founders master their body and mind to elevate all aspects of their life, to elevate and scale their business, to elevate their physique, and ultimately live a more fulfilled life by holding them to a higher standard for them to act in accordance of the version of themselves that they're trying to get to, and ultimately manifest the reality that they want through acting in accordance to that version of themselves. But yes, for the video today, let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any time. What I'm gonna share with you guys today is 3 mindset shifts that has helped me build a 6-figure business, as well as help my clients scale their business from multiple 4 figures to multiple 5 figures, as well as 6 to 7. And what I'm gonna do is give you the source that I've essentially given my clients, but to you guys for completely free. The things that have helped me mentally and helped them mentally, essentially 4-5x their business, taken me from 4K to over 20K per month, and helped Nick go from 5K to 15K, helped Henry go from 4K to over 20K per month, and a few of my other clients, Josh, just live a more fulfilled and satisfied life, while also achieving their dream physique, their dream strength, even though they're in their busiest times of their life, the busiest times of their business, still having priority on things that are important to them. Let's get straight into it. So the first mindset shift is all to do with priority and control, because some of the times my clients come up to me and tell me, Yassine, I'm running a 7-figure business. I've not got the time to work out. Or, Dean, I've got this massive team and it's a lot of responsibility. I'm extremely stressed and it's like, it's a burden on me and I don't feel like I can make time for this, right? It always comes back to the time thing, right? And I understand, being a business owner myself, making 6 figures, it does get extremely difficult. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, if you've decided to work with me, if you've decided to invest 4 to 5 figures into me, right? You're doing it for a reason. And I'm not here to fix all your problems. The only thing I can do for you is help you shift your mindset and shift your belief system to understand that you do have the time, you're just maybe not making the time. Because at the end of the day, everything comes down to priority. And if you've invested in me, best believe that this is going to be a priority for you. And I'm gonna hold you to that higher standard. Because again, I'm not here to fix your problems, right? Only you can do that for yourself. I can give you the map, I can tell you exactly what you need to do. I can hold you accountable, but at the end of the day, if you're not making time for this yourself, then you will never make time, because if your business is growing and you're continuing down this path where you're scaling, it's only gonna get harder and you're only going to have less time in the future. If you can't make time now, then you might as well accept that you will never make time, okay? Before I drop some more sauce, let me quickly drink some water. And just to bring it back to why most people start business, okay? Because the reason I started is not to have less. The reason I started is for freedom. Most people start to have that level of freedom that they want, right, that they desire for. But what tends to happen is you sacrifice your entire life to build that business. But then once it gets to a point where you've got the team, you've got the systems, like you don't need to continuously be sacrificing that same level of time, or you could be doing it differently, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's your business, okay? If you've got client calls from 8 a.m. to midnight, that's your choice, that's your choosing. The schedule should be around you, especially if it's your business. If you're in that 6 to 7 figure mark, the schedule should revolve around you and your priorities, right? And if you genuinely can't make the time, then either you need to build better systems or you need to hire more people. But ultimately, it comes down to the fundamental principle that it all starts with you, right? And I'm not here to say that you will always have time, because there's definitely going to be moments where you don't have time, right? And I can accept that. If you genuinely show me a calendar that is packed, if you go to bed at midnight and you wake up at 8 a.m. and then from 8 a.m. until midnight, you have calls back to back, I'm not gonna be on your ass, okay? But if I can clearly see a 3-4 hour gap between and you've chosen not to work out, that is a choice that you've made. And all that means to me is you've not prioritized yourself. And if you can't prioritize yourself, how are you going to prioritize your business? How are you going to prioritize your team? How are you going to prioritize everyone that is relying on you, your clients, okay? At the end of the day, you are building this business to make a lot of money, sure. But it's to provide for your family. It's to provide for your team. It's to make more time for yourself, right? So if you can't choose and create a calendar that works for you and your priorities, because again, if you've come to me, it's because this has become a priority for you, right? You want to change your body. You want to change your mental state. You want to become someone who is capable of being a leader for their team, being a leader for themselves, right? And if you're deciding not to and you're not walking that path, that is a choice and you need to accept that. So either accept now you will never change, because again, it's only going to get busier, or genuinely decide to make that change now. Make that mental shift, because it's only going to help you. Everything else is an excuse. Or maybe you're just operating from a lower frequency and you're not ready for that higher frequency. But you will never be ready if you say you're not ready. And this comes into the second point of having a higher standard for yourself, because what you tell yourself has so much importance and there's so much strength in what you say. So the more you tell yourself that you don't have time, the more you're going to believe it, because ultimately reality is all perception, right? Your truth is what you tell yourself. So if you're telling yourself you don't have time, then you're not going to have time, and you're going to believe you're not going to have time. And if you believe you're not going to have time, then you're not going to make time, and you're not going to make this a priority. But ultimately, at the end of the day, you have time and you know you have time. The days where you're just scrolling in bed, right? Where you're just chilling in bed, where you're scrolling, where you're deciding to spend time with someone else rather than prioritize yourself. Those are all decisions that you're making. And the more you make those decisions, the harder it will be for you to accept that this is all just a story you're telling yourself. Because the more you tell yourself the story, the more you're digging your hole into believing in that story. Because again, all truths are half truths, right? But if you're telling yourself that this is the truth, you're going to believe that it's the truth. And if you believe that it's the truth, you're not going to make a change. I'm going to drink some of my Lucozade real quick. By the way, if you guys haven't already, I'm going to put you on real quick. This is my first time having this. Lucozade Ice Kick. If you're having the original and you're not having this, you're doing something wrong, because I've just been put on. I saw this and I grabbed it, and it's basically lemonade, and it's giving me energy for my gym session later. So yeah, Lucozade Ice Kick. If you try it, let me know in the comments or message me on Instagram. Don't worry though, I've still got my water. I can't fucking speak. But yeah, let's get back into it. If higher level people than you have the physique you want, then why don't you? Because it always comes back to the time thing. People always tell me, like my clients always tell me they've not got time. But there is someone in your exact same situation, in your exact same position, in the same level of business as you are, but they've got the desired result. They've got the physique they want, or they're living a more happy and fulfilled life. They're not stressed every day by business, okay? And what's the reason for that? Fundamentally, it's their belief system. You need to rewire your way of thinking. You need to shift that belief system, and you need to stop telling yourself that you've not got the time, but rather tell yourself that I'm not making this a priority right now, because that can change. But if you say you don't have time and you accept that as a truth, you will never change it. Alex Hormozi, everyone knows Alex Hormozi over here. Acquisition.com has $250 million in aggregate revenue. He made 100 million in, 3 days with his webinar. He's fucking jacked. He's jacked. He's making more money than most people I know, right? Pretty much everyone I know. And he is jacked. Jeff Bezos, one of the richest guys in the world, right? He decided to make that change. And look at him now, he's fucking jacked. If you've not seen his transformation, right after this video, go check it out, because he has gone through an insane transformation. Do you really think you've got less time than Jeff Bezos? Do you really think you've got less time than Alex Hormozi? Really think about that and be truthful when you answer that question. And if you do, then fair play. But if you don't, then there's no excuse, right? So be extremely careful with the story that you tell yourself and the belief system that you're reinforcing every single day. The more you make an excuse. Instead, just say, I've had a bad day. This has not been good, right? This has not been a good day. I've been busy, I've been stressed, I've not done my workout. Don't say you didn't have time, because that's only gonna reinforce that behavior. And if you do miss your workout, don't stress yourself about it, right? The whole point of me working with the clients I work to is because I understand what it is to be in a business of this scale, right? I understand the time you have. I'm in the same level of business as you. I'm in the same space as you, right? You might have a bad day, you might miss a workout, you might genuinely not have the time, right? But that's why flexibility is so important. And this is why it's tailored. You need to make sure your schedule is tailored to you. Again, make sure your schedule is tailored to you. Make sure your workouts are tailored to that schedule, and make sure it's one of the biggest priorities in that schedule, especially if you're telling me that this is a priority for you and you're telling me you want to change, okay? And the third and final shift is all to do with your relationships and the people around you. Because again, and everyone knows this, is the environment you have around you. The 5 people you surround yourself with most, you're going to become the 6th, right? It's all a reflection of you. So if you're around people that are saying that they don't have time for workouts, or they're just working all day and they can't make time, or they're too stressed, or whatever it is, right? The more you're around them, the more you're going to fall into that belief system. And the more you fall into that belief system, the more you're going to be using that as your truth and as your reality. And that's only going to make things harder for you, right? So be very careful with who you surround yourself with. Because even as I was scaling my business from 4 to 22K per month, I started hanging around with these people, right? And I started making those same excuses, and I started to really believe it. I really did. And funnily enough, I started missing my workouts. I started saying I didn't have enough time. I started saying I couldn't make this work. And I'm a fucking fitness coach. So it really just shows how much importance your circle matters. Now, I'm very careful with who I hang around with. And for those that say they don't have the time, I try to change that belief system that they have. Because again, there's always someone in your same exact position, or someone doing better than you with less time that makes it work. So if that's the case, then what truly is the reason why you're not working out? And it all comes down to those subconscious beliefs and things that you hold about yourself. It's all about the limitations that you set for yourself. They're all limiting beliefs. And it's you accepting a lower standard that you really and truly shouldn't be accepting, especially as a business owner, especially as someone who should be holding themselves to a higher standard. Because again, that higher standard you hold yourself to is going to reflect in your work, it's going to reflect in your revenue, it's going to reflect in your team, it's going to reflect in the people you surround yourself with. It's ultimately going to reflect how fulfilled you are in life. So those are the main 3 that really shifted my mindset and made working out a whole lot easier. And for me, fitness is one of the biggest priorities in my life, no matter what. Because I completely believe that if you are unable to prioritize yourself, you will not be able to prioritize anything in your life, whether that's your relationships, whether that's your family, whether that's your business, whether that's your team. You are the biggest lever that you can pull at this stage in your business. At the end of the day, it relies on you. So make sure you take those 3 points and really hold it to your heart and really deeply think about them. This isn't just another video that you can just forget about, because I'm sure one of these points have hit home. If you enjoyed the video, let me know. Give me some feedback. You know where to find me. I've got my Instagram linked in my bio. And if you want to work with me, or if you want to jump on a call to discuss and talk about how we can work together, then links in the bio. But yeah, whether you do or not, it's all chilling. No hard feelings. But I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped. And yeah, just make sure for yourself, for the people around you, don't fall into that belief system. And really and truly, if you are, then understand why. Try increase your level of awareness of understanding why. Ask yourself, why do I believe these things? Because in most cases, it's a story you're telling yourself and it's not true. I love holding people to the highest of standards, holding them accountable, making sure they're achieving everything they want to, making sure they're focused on their priorities. So yeah, you know where to find me. Take care, guys.